Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something sick.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
I wrote you. I just took a page out of my just some journaling I did after this session I had with another practitioner, and so it was a really. There was some clarity I got on a part that was kind of frustrated by relationship in the family, kind of how I was treated in a way that, really didn't let me be myself. And so I guess I experienced kind of an unburdening with that, but also in that session there was this kind of this feral kid too.
Did you say feral?
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember a session I had with you. There was this kid living in the woods,
Yes.
And so this time I'm pretty sure. Well, it was the same one. I mean, I don't know by name or anything like that. It's just a sense, an intuition. It's the same kid, and he's just in a different place. It's another nature-oriented place, but it was on this beach in California with this cliff, a place that it's kind of an important place to me. And he was kind of there, and so the thing was, in this session, it wasn't he was trying to he was trying to get me to don't, you don't have to mess with anything, you don't have to. He's more of an avoidant, he has this avoidant power,
Yeah.
Because he's very he's just very
feral.
Self-reliant. What's that?
Well, he's feral.
Yeah.
He's outside of the system, huh?
He's just a nature boy, man. He's he's just live in a cave or a fort that he made or something. And and he's kind of just his quality of, I guess if you could imagine, like how people like that are, it's just not a lot of bullshit, it's just not, it's not,
Right.
yeah. So, he's just very, I guess he's a survivor. I guess he's a survivalist, whatever. Yeah, now that when I talk like this, it's kind of like, it doesn't bother me, but it's like my own imagination kind of feeds into the story of my parts, the like, which in a way, like, part of me thinks that's fun. It's fun. It's fun to do that. It's fun to create these mythologies, these little personal mythologies, I guess that's a part too. But which in a way, I think that's sort of some progress because like, I don't feel like there's a lot of concern anymore in my system about, whether IFS is real or, is this okay? And, I think I sent you another message too about, like, I went to this meditation retreat, over one of the weekends, and like, there was these monks there, and they're like people I look up to, and I've had contact with them for, at least one of them, for like over 10 years, and so like, he kind of like a spiritual counselor, but these days I don't actually talk to them very much, it's more like, if I have questions, I think about them, and then like during the weekend, I just kind of feel out, like what those answers are, like it's, I like that kind of dynamic better, because then I feel like my ego doesn't get real involved with whether they like me or whether they think I'm doing good or anything like that. It's just, it's kind of, it's on a different level.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was on my mind that, I wonder if this is, not that I thought it was like, not that I thought I was in conflict, but, just because, like, these monks, like, I trust their judgment. I trust their, like, I trust them about my life and what I'm, so, and not in a personal way, but just, I guess, in a personal way, but also in a universal way. Like, what's, yeah, just like what's good, like what's, okay. So, but yeah, I was just thinking about the IFS and stuff, and, yeah, and this one monk, he was telling this story, and he was like, at one point, and he talks about this witnessing consciousness a lot, which is part of the self, and that's part of, like, a lot of different spiritual traditions, mostly Eastern, but still, there's a lot of different traditions have this idea of the witnessing consciousness and being able to observe and being like developing that, and that's a core quality of your true self,
Right.
Yeah, so he was talking about that, and he was talking about this talk that he gave about the witnessing consciousness, and he was, and he said, yeah, and then I was talking about this, and it was very interesting because my consciousness is kind of receded, and he's like, I was watching all this happen and everything, and I was just viewing the whole scene. He's like, and then I had this thought, this talk is really going great. And he's like, and then my ego just came right back. But then late in a few minutes after that, he started saying, he's like, yeah, before I was going to give that talk, he's like, there was this part of me that was saying, maybe you shouldn't talk about that. Maybe you should talk about this. Maybe you should do that. He's like, and then I was like, having this conversation with myself and like these two different parts. And I was just like, okay, I wasn't like, jumping up and down, but I just had a sense in myself, like, okay, like that's
yeah.
It just feels like it's talk. That speaks
and
to
we
me.
can, we can all do it. It's almost, it's kind of obvious. It's like, yeah, well, we can all do that. We can all have that internal dialogue. And so I don't know,
right.
I don't know what to call it or what the metaphysics of it are or what real even means. But if we're all having this experience in common, then we can use tools to work with it.
Yeah. And I, and I'm starting to like, do you think, like there's self energy that's like trapped in these parts that have burdens, right? Is that your?
I would think of it more like there's self energy that's obscured by those parts. The burden parts, mostly the protectors, they're acting in lieu of anyone else responsible being around, and so they have their strategies to deal with internal feelings and external strife, and self can't just simply overpower them. It requires this, what you're talking about, this kind of tuning in, becoming aware, and then through dialogue, communicating with the parts.
Yeah.
And then they can relax. And the more that they step back and relax, the more self is available and can continue being what it wants to be out in the world, and also continue working with other parts, exiled parts that have been estranged from it for a long time, and it can help them out. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's not that. I mean, I don't know. It's not the most important thing to me to understand that right now. It's just, I had this thought that like, maybe there's like, there's some self in the parts, whereas the parts are in us, but there's like, there's,
I think that's also true. I think parts have parts and parts have self. It doesn't come up much in the conversations I have, just because there's so much to do and to achieve with just the simpler paradigm of, this is self, this is a part, it needs help, this other part needs help. And so I'm usually not getting to into that kind of intricacies of the parts of a part, the self of a part, but they are like whole beings, and they have their own worlds and their own systems, if you will.
Okay. All right. So this is what I'm like curious about now. So I had this kind of unburdening a little bit on Monday, and it was more about this like sense of frustration, and I kind of wrote that to you. a little bit. I said how this part, I was able to kind of take this part and go to a better place, like this place where I used to go with my grandparents in northern part of a state, and I just kind of let him be there, and there was other relatives on the property and stuff, and I just kind of made everybody leave and just gave it to him, and it was it was a great feeling. It was like this expansive like feeling in my system. I just felt like it was just like that place was like expanding, just kept like going. And like the middle of that, was like this trailer that we used to stay in. It's like this, these like those old silver Airstream trailers, on this property. And that was like the center of it. And it was just like expanding out from there, So that was really wonderful. That was like a really, that was a beautiful experience. And, I felt that something really did shift, this week. Yeah. And also, so what I've been, what it kind of brought up, because I said, like, there was this frustration, there was this anger, and I thought, okay, well, there's some hurt, like, behind that, like when I was a kid, like when I was that age, what I always experienced was I thought I felt more sad most of the time, but it was really, and I know that's there, but just like this sense of like shame, or also like rage, like really more difficult emotions,
Right.
And so those are those kind of emotions, like those are
behind the frustration.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
I think the frustration is almost like it's putting on the brakes of the, and when I could really, like, at different times, I could see that rage and anger, especially toward women. I mean because with
I just want you to know that you don't have to explain.
Okay, all right. I just I think it was with women, because it's just men, it seemed, we could fight, we could fight or something, and that's one aspect of it. There was another aspect with that, I didn't want to fight. I just, I wanted to be in the group. I wanted to belong. I didn't want to be picked on. I wanted to be and there's just so many instances of that, of like having these moments of being like and even now that I talk about it, I feel like there's protectors that are coming up, and they're kind of like, hey, watch what you talk about, right?
Yeah.
Like just, don't be just rushing into anything now.
Right. Let's not rush into anything. It might be helpful. You can check this out with those protectors for us to agree on a part that we're going to focus on at first, and it could be one of those protectors, and just see if we have everybody's permission to start there. And that way they don't have to concern themselves with the process so much if you and I are upfront about where we're going and who we're meeting and all that. Does that sound helpful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you know where you'd like to start? Which of these parts you'd like to get to know better? I have a list here of some parts that I feel like you've named. Okay. But if one is calling out to you and needs your attention most, we could start there.
I don't know. I'm a little bit I'm a little reluctant. Can you give me some?
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's the part you worked with earlier in the week, that frustration, putting on the brakes. It has kind of behind it some shame and some rage, some anger towards women. You have protective parts that want to make sure you're not rushing into things. And you also have that feral, what I remember being a 7-year-old at the beach and whatever. You said you didn't really know him so well, so that could be a part to get to know. That's about all that I have listed.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think it kind of overwhelmed myself a little bit. Yeah, I don't think I want to. Like maybe I'll try to get in contact with this feral kid because, well, I mean, there's a part right now that's just kind of trying to just shut the lights off, just
okay.
Kind of just,
how do you feel about talking with that one?
Yeah, I could talk to that one because I mean it definitely has all the energy at the moment.
Okay. How do you notice it in your body? What does it feel like?
It's just kind of a constricting kind of feeling, just trying to hold everything in around my head, around my torso, kind of folded arms, eyes closed. Yeah, not really, kind of afraid of sort of stepping into territory that is, a little too charged, for, yeah. So,
okay. You can let it know that we don't have to do that. And that we can just get to know it for now. How are you feeling towards that part?
Yeah, I guess honestly, I'm a little frustrated with it. I think I'm I mean, I see I can appreciate that. But then there's like something in the background about, it's just like, wow, we're not really making we're not making any progress, this way. And that's, that's not me, but it's like maybe another part that's kind of like, well, I guess we're not gonna have an adventure,
if this part shuts the lights off.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
maybe you can turn to that frustrated part.
Mm-hmm.
Let it know that getting to know all the parts is the adventure, and ask it for space and see if it will let you get to know the lights off part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that part is like, oh yeah, well, what other choice is there? He has all the, he has all the attention anyway. Like he's sort of took over anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, seems like a good enough reason to me.
Yeah. But
So
I'm curious about that part because, it's like I can understand, it's like, all the, I think this is a part that's like interested in cool adventures and, whether they're inside or out. And, he's sort of like this kind of taxes his gig a little bit. It's like, if he's a real letdown, another letdown. He's bored. Yeah. He's so bored.
Yeah. I haven't met a part that's actually boring in my time of doing this. Once we get to know them, they're interesting.
Yeah. I think I can convey that, because he can watch this interaction. He can be,
yeah. He cares about the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and the lights off kind of guys kind of relaxed, a little more relaxed. He sees the interest in him. He sees that people are actually he doesn't have to take the power. It's kind of like it's just relaxed. It's given to him. It's like he's
great.
And
what does he want you to know about himself?
He feels he has to do everything. He has to, I'm not sure exactly. Like to maintain like to maintain this sense of, I don't know, maybe it's I hear illusion of safety or something like that.
Yeah. So he wants to make sure that you're being safe.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. It does. He has to kind of use this full throttle reaction, to keep this train on the tracks, really.
And how long has he been doing that, acting in that role?
I don't get a clear. I'll try to ask again. No, a long time. I don't get a real clear answer on that, you know.
And what is he afraid would happen? What's the fear, the safety concern?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things.
Okay.
I mean,
you don't have to list them all to me,
yeah.
but just if you're okay with him showing you that and just witnessing that. And how do you feel towards him as you see what he's showing you about his fears?
Well, I mean, he's gotten me out of some things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, definitely. You know, I mean, because he has a sense of you know, he can he can quit. He knows when to but yeah, um you know, but I haven't really trusted him much at all. Like, it's just been painful relationship,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
And he doesn't love doing his job that much, right?
I don't know how he would. Yeah, he's just, you know, he's like the he's like the last, you know, the last ditch effort, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you were able to help him out with that job,
yeah,
then would the relationship be less strained? Would he be more relaxed if you could just kind of take some of that off of his hands? And then you wouldn't have to trust him to be the stopgap or the...
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm just feeling like this crazy. Uh, yeah, yeah. I think so. It'd be good.
And you
To,
did show him appreciation. You said he's helped you out. He's gotten you out of things.
yeah, I mean, I could see what I've interpreted as something really negative, as something that's hurt me, as you know, like, which I mean, I didn't recognize it as a part that of my system that was doing something to help me, but I just thought of that part as like something denying me life, like my
right.
what I want to do, what I yeah, and I'm not.
Yeah,
So I'm like
takes,
judging. Yeah.
If he's overworking, then he's coming up and taking you, restricting your ability to have that freedom and do those other things.
Yeah, and I'm not listening to what he's doing. So it's like,
right.
How do I even explain it to you? But it's just
I think I get it. I mean, it sounds like pretty much every part that's a protector, or most parts, they're working really hard. They don't feel heard enough. There's a strained relationship, and so they feel like they have to become extra extreme and jump in, and they have this one tool that they use, kind of a ham-fisted way of shutting things down or pushing us to do this or that, and all of that can be alleviated by the self getting to know the part, appreciating the part, updating the part, learning about the part's fears, the exiles, and just witnessing, listening, providing for it so that it doesn't have to work so hard.
Right. Yeah. 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 And I'm like seeing, like, these, scenes from, I mean, not from, I don't see a lot from when I was a kid, but like in my 20s, like college, and when this really, really was like kicking in, like severely, like, stop what you're fucking doing now, and not knowing how to listen to that. Oh, okay. So this is making sense to me. And this is a very powerful part of me, and very, I would say wise, and he's probably
genuinely interested in your safety. Really has helped out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I never saw it from that perspective because, I've always looked at the effects as negative effects, I've always seen the feeling that as a negative, and
they may have been negative, the impact of, it may have been negative, and still this part's intentions were good.
Right.
And it's there for a reason, and it could be even more useful. It could be even more useful if you're able to update it and and lead it so that you can use its strength without being overwhelmed by it or fighting it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, because true, like, it's like what I've experienced in the past is it's like getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and and I'm like, there's this evil monster,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, and I'm just I'm being sucked into a black hole, and I'm being pulled apart, and I mean that's probably the worst case scenario, but yeah. So yeah, I'm just yeah.
Just so I understand, is the being sucked in, being pulled apart, evil monster, is that this part that turns the lights off, or is that other experiences that this part wants to protect you from?
No, I think not listening to this part
Mm-hmm.
has given me those experiences.
Got it.
Yeah,
That's what it's, yeah. So that's what it's trying to prevent.
Well, yeah, it's trying to get my attention, and I don't want to listen.
Right.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure that. I mean, I know there's definitely exile stuff and that, but I mean, this kind of, I mean, like drugs and alcohol make everything worse, So, I mean, that's, like when like what I'm referring to is like when, like I'm 21, 22 years old, and I'm, trying to figure myself out, and I got stress and, and some depression. So I'm trying to work things out on my own, mm-hmm. and then 2 years of that, I sort of like started having panic attacks and, like major, like just, like really not socializing well anymore kind of thing. And then, so what I'm saying is I feel like that part was trying to was just the source of all that, the source of kind of a lot of the like I'm trying to get away from, obviously I'm trying to get away from all these exile stuff, or maybe I'm trying to get away from, I don't know, just
that would be my guess.
Having any like barriers on my free, quote unquote freedom,
Right.
So like, yeah, that's what I don't know. It's more complicated than that, but in a way it's, I sort of feel like intuitively, like, yeah, it's like, it was like a lot of the, like, yeah, there's some rage, there's some definitely shame stuff to work through, but there's also the sort of, I don't know, like just trying to run away from everything,
mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and the running away. Go ahead. I was just gonna say it's separate from what this part does, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. The running away is kind of like I think it's like a firefighter, mm-hmm. A firefighter that is just kind of like.
I get it.
I just
yeah. I want to make sure that we're not coming too far away from this part that we were interacting with.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm still understanding that part. I'm still just kind of, mm-hmm. I'm still just kind of pointing towards that part, and
and the
I'm
role
like
that it
checking with
did.
myself too. I'm just checking with that part too. Is
okay, great.
Because I feel. I mean, I was never like, like I kind of remember, like let me just talk to this part for a second.
Great.
Yeah, I was totally losing touch with myself, and this part, just turned on every alarm that it could,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't fun to do drugs anymore. It wasn't fun to drink. Nothing was fun and adventurous like that. And but I'm tired of thinking about all that. It's like, I
Thinking
just,
about
yeah, just, like, I just want to unburden myself of all that.
okay, we're doing it.
And yeah. And
This part has led us. This part has led us here. It has
right.
shown you how integral it was in that time of your life, and now you can see those connections and how it served a protective, valuable role at that time.
Right.
You could ask it how old it thinks you are, if it still thinks you're in your 20s or younger.
Yeah, so 23, something like that.
Yeah, great. So you can update it with your real age. Let it know you're not in that place anymore. And then it might not need to get your attention in that same way as it did back then.
Yeah. So I see this image of myself when I'm like 9 years old. I think I was about 9. And so I took on this idea of like a detective, like I had this hat and this, I don't know, these little, just this paraphernalia, of like a detective. And I would write down things that people would say, and I tape record conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe this part has some association with that part.
Yeah, you could ask it. What's the connection? What does it want you to know about that time?
And I just want to acknowledge that there's a part that comes up that's like, this is bullshit.
Which what precisely is bullshit?
the process. The you know.
I was just thinking how what's the word? How natural and clear it is, because so much of what you've done in this conversation is you've like preempted my questions. Like, oh, I think we should. Like, I'm saying I think we should go this way, and then you go that way, and so
Really?
yeah, and I'm saying that just kind of earlier I was saying like, oh well, everyone can talk to parts. Everyone also, when they're in self energy, kind of takes the right steps, and they're somewhat predictable because. So anyway, that's what I was thinking, was just how not bullshit this is. But
yeah, and I'm okay with the part there. I just wanna I just wanna acknowledge that part. And it's like, you can sit there and
I want to acknowledge it too. I just wanted to point out that's
right.
That's what was on my mind at the time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like a warmth in my heart, and I sort of feel the closeness of that younger part. And I think it is that. Yeah.
Some connection with that 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can let this protective part know that, and let the 9-year-old know that you want to go there. You want to get to him. It'll take time. I'm not suggesting we do it in this conversation.
Yeah.
Is there more that the lights off part wants to share with you, or give you any advice or any other direction around how you go forward with it, with this younger part, with the 20-year-old part?
Like it knows that, like it knows it knows I deal with this pain, even this, like, this vague, like, dull pain every day. It knows that, but it says that, don't think the answer is just like going into the eye of the storm and
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we can meet any part just in the same way we met this part, and you could let it know that you took your time. You picked one part. You were on guard for the other parts that wanted to jump in. You listened. You got to know this protector in a way that you didn't know before, and have a new appreciation for. And maybe it has a new appreciation for you, seeing your real age or any of that. And just let it know that is the process. And it's absolutely right that we can do it wrong if we're charging in to the eye of the storm and not taking our time with each part.
Yeah. I think, there's a timing, there's a timing for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find the right, the right timing, the right effort, the right,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And maybe harkening back to the monks thing, if you were to ask them what's their timeline for their journey, I imagine they'd have the same answer I have, which is this is a lifelong practice.
Yeah. 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 There's some parts that are disappointed about that.
We can get to the parts and we can help out parts. That doesn't need to take 50 years.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be tension. There's always going to be parts with different wants. There's always going to be surprises and problems in life. And the better that you're able to communicate with each part, the better you can weather those storms.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Does this feel like a good place to stop?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Oh, I do have a question. I have a question for that part that was craving adventure. Because we told it that, that this could be an adventure to go and just meet with this part and do this boring work. And so I wanted to check and see what it thought about this exploration today.
Okay. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was.
All right.
That's, that was, pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so too. So.
Me too. No boring parts.
No. Is that going to be the title of your book or what?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to your parts. And yeah, just let them know that we can keep doing it and we can get to all of them.
Okay. All right. Really appreciate you, man.
All right. Back at you. Talk to you later.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.